Hello ladies and gentlemen, and today I have a review of the PlayStation 4 versus the Xbox One. I'm going to be going over which one I think is best. I'm going to go through the specs of both, what you'll get or what you'll need with each one to make them work, and generally what is the best one, what is the best bang for your buck. There's been a big rivalry between the PlayStation and Microsoft and Sony before, and really the Xbox One on the last consoles, and I just wanted to go over which one of the consoles I think will be best or will come off best this year. So first of all, the processors. Sony have gone with a AMD 8-core Jaguar x86 to 64 CPU, which is a 1 GHz processor, versus the Xbox custom, it's an AMD, it is still AMD, but it's a custom core 8-core CPU. So I think that the PlayStation 4 comes off on top here because it has Jaguar cores, which are generically better than custom cores that would be made for the Xbox. So I think that the PlayStation would come off better with this, but I don't think it's going to be a huge difference, so it might not be noticeable throughout games. Next is going to be the graphics. Both consoles have opted again for AMD based graphics, and they're both going to be built into their APs. The PlayStation 4 is going to have a Radeon 7870 drive GPU, which will have or be equivalent to 18 compute units versus the Xbox One's 12 compute units. So in theory, the PlayStation 4 should be quicker and have smoother gameplay. Not sure again how much it's going to make a difference, but it should be quicker in terms of graphics. For the RAM, the big change up for the hardware is that this Sony console has gone for 8 GB of GDDR5 rather than the Xbox's 8 GB of DDR3. The Sony PlayStation 4 uses 5.5 GHz GDDR5 RAM. And I believe that the Xbox One only uses 2.1 DDR3 RAM. The G of the PlayStation 4's GDDR RAM stands for graphics. Again, the big difference will be latency and speed. So the RAM, in terms of RAM, the PlayStation 4 will be quicker. However, I do not know how much of a difference this will make in a usual gaming aspect until we actually see the console and play on them. For storage, again, both consoles have a 500 GB hard drive as the standard. However, the PlayStation 4, again, as well as similar to the PlayStation 3, has a removable hard drive, so you can actually take out the 500 GB hard drive and change it for something bigger, maybe even a terabyte. I know I did this with my PlayStation 3. It was quite helpful because you do run out of the memory that you get given for the consoles. Okay, so first of all, Sony and Xbox have gone for a Blu-ray optical drive. Basically, this means that Xbox won't no more have to have a game on 3 discs because the Blu-ray can hold a lot more memory. Okay, so next, both consoles will have cloud storage. Cloud storage is basically a service model where it allows you to save your games remotely over the internet and then take them back off the internet excuse me, when you need to play them or when you need to save games. So that won't take up as much, or you don't need as much memory on your, or hard drive space on your console, on your actual console, because you'll be able to save it to the internet. So this will save you a lot of money theoretically in possibly buying new hard drives and stuff like that. So both consoles will be capable of producing a 4K image. This is basically, as you can see on the screen, 4 times as good as the standard 1080p. So you can theoretically have much bigger screens and still have the same crystal clear quality as you would on a small screen with 1080p. The only problem is I don't think there's going to be any games as of yet coming out, or anytime soon coming out, in 4K. Only films will be coming out in 4K, and they're at the moment still limited, so I don't know how much of an impact both consoles have it, so when it does come out, not one console will be behind so they will both have 4K. When it comes out, they will be ready to use 4K. Blu-ray will be able to hold 4K films, be able to hold 4K games, but I don't think any of them will be coming out too soon, so Okay, so next is the controllers. In my opinion, Sony have done the most with their controller. They've added a touchpad, a bit like on the PlayStation Vita, which was really cool, especially for games such as FIFA, which was really well integrated. They've added inverted or concave joystick, so it feels much nicer when you're gaming, and they've finally added better triggers, because it was really annoying on the PlayStation where your finger just slipped off the trigger. On Xbox side, they have added responsive triggers, which apparently relay feedback to, or push back out, or I can't remember exactly what they said they were going to do, but apparently they've added relaying triggers. I don't think they've done that much different to their old control, just made it a bit more comfortable to use, and especially for people who game for long hours, and just feels a lot nicer in their hands. Oh, and PlayStation have actually had the share button where you can click on, you can start recording or save your past 7 minutes of gameplay, or start live streaming to, I think it's Ustream and their site. So this is quite a cool add-on. Okay, so next is the motion capturing. Well, not really motion capturing, but the cameras that they use. Xbox have opted with a Kinect 2.0, which doesn't need any sort of controller or anything to use. Bit like the Kinect, well, it's basically the Kinect 1.0, but a little bit better. PlayStation have now integrated an eye, which will allow you to use your PlayStation Move from the PlayStation 3, and we'll be able to create a visual of the room to see where everybody is and determine which player is which. So this is quite cool. Okay, so talking second screens, Sony have opted with their PlayStation Vita, which is actually a separate portable console, whereas Microsoft have gone with their smart glass again. Both do will be doing a very similar sort of role. Basically, you connect it to your console and you'll be able to use it as a second screen, so you'll be able to use the touch screen use it for in-game, so like it will produce a map for stuff like Battlefield, or COD could produce a map. You could use the touchscreen. I know on Battlefield 4, I think I saw if you're in commander mode, like a special mode within the multiplayer, you can actually call in kill streaks and stuff and help your team from your second screen. So this is quite cool, and I think it would be good to be integrated quite majorly into the new consoles, and would be a good addition. Okay, so this is also a big turning point for me, where I think that PlayStation comes out miles on top. Basically, both consoles are going to have to require for you to pay to play online. However, with the PlayStation, you have to pay for PlayStation Plus, which is a lot like what Xbox are using, again, like the Xbox 360, which is Xbox Live. PlayStation Plus, when you pay for it, you don't just get multiplayer, you actually get, I think it's something like 4 free games a month. Discounts off of the PlayStation Store for other games and add-ons and stuff. You get loads of, I mean, all this stuff you get with actually playing multiplayer. So and it's cheaper. I think it's like something. It's only £5 cheaper, which I don't know how many dollars that is. It's something like $8 or something like that. So it's not a lot cheaper, but you get a lot more stuff with it, which I think is a lot better, because even this actually makes you want to buy the PlayStation, because it seems like they're giving you a lot more with what you pay. So I think that PlayStation Plus comes out on top with the multiplayer scenario. Okay, so in this part of the video, I'm just going to go through all the other things that I haven't covered and haven't actually been able to get pictures for. First of all, I'm going to start off with the fact that they're both going to have built-in game DVRs. This means that you'll be able to, on both consoles, you'll be able to actually record what you're doing, or some of your gameplay to put onto YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Ustream. I think PlayStation are going with Ustream and their own website and Facebook, whereas Xbox are going with predominantly Twitch. However, that may change, and PlayStation may be able to get onto Twitch. I'm not sure yet. No one really knows yet. It hasn't been really shown off that much yet. Just the basics have been shown off at both of the media conferences at E3, and both of their separate media conferences earlier this year. The next thing I would like to talk about is that this is actually quite strange, because PlayStation 3 actually had Bluetooth, and is what you used your headsets with. I mean, I have a Turtle Beach PX5s, and they're wireless, and you have to use I suppose you can use wired, but you use a Bluetooth connection to connect it to your PlayStation so you can talk with your friends online, so it's completely wireless. And I was quite surprised when Xbox said that they weren't actually going to integrate Bluetooth into their new console. Don't think this is going to be a point which is going to make you buy one of the other consoles, but I just think it's a bit stupid that the Xbox haven't actually integrated Bluetooth into their new console. The next thing, I'm now going to go into used games. Recently, Xbox have said, well, let's talk about PlayStation first. PlayStation have always said that you're going to be able to play used games, share games. You're going to be able to. It's not going to always be online. Whereas Xbox took the other route, where it's going to always be online. You're not going to be able to play used games, stuff like that. Whereas Xbox have now turned back on themselves and said, okay, we can now play used games. You don't have to always be online. Things like this, there isn't going to be a region lock, whereas there used to be a region lock on the Xbox, but not on the PlayStation. In my eyes, I see this as Xbox thinking, oh crap, we're second, because PlayStation had gone miles up and were first by miles in the pre-order ranks. I think this is a way of Xbox thinking, oh bollocks, we're miles behind. What can we possibly do that people have always wanted with the new consoles to get our pre-orders back up? They're not thinking about you or people as a gamer, in my opinion. They're not been thinking about people as a gamer. Otherwise they'd put that in straight away. They wouldn't have even said that they're not going to put it in. They'd just put it straight in rather than changing what their ideas and what they were going to do with the console. So in my eyes, I think that they're only doing it for money and how they can get the most money, which is not a bad thing, I suppose, but it just shows that they don't, in my eyes, don't really care about the gamer that much to include what the gamer really wants in a console. So that's my opinions on that. Neither console at the moment have been said to be backwards compatible. However, Sony have said that in the future there will be a cloud service which will allow you to play older PlayStation games. Older PlayStation, I think, goes back to might even go back to PlayStation 1. I mean, you can buy PlayStation 1 games on PlayStation Store. So you should be able to buy, or you will be able to go back and play PlayStation 3 games on the PlayStation 4, but that won't be as soon as it gets released. PlayStation will not have a mandatory game install, so you won't have to install. You won't have to install your game to play it. Straight away, you wouldn't have to actually physically install it just to play it, because sometimes it needs a internet connection. Whereas the Xbox, you're going to need to do this game install, which you don't really know a lot about at the moment. They haven't really said a lot about that, so I'm just going to skip over that quickly. The sizes of the consoles, they're fairly similar sort of design, with half matte, half gloss. The only main difference is that the PlayStation 4, I think, and I've heard other people talk about, they saw it at E3, it was a much more sleek console, and really the actual measurements don't show how much smaller it actually looks. The PlayStation is approximately 275mm by 305mm by 53mm and weighs 2.8 kilograms, whereas the Xbox is 343mm by 263mm by 80mm, which is a considerable amount bigger. Don't really think this is going to affect you again too much. Just if you have a certain amount, you want to make sure. Well, I don't think it's a good idea to buy something on the size, because if you only have a select amount of room to put something, it's not a good idea anyway, because it gets cooled on air. So if it doesn't have enough room, it's just going to choke and will die quicker or will overheat. So I don't think that's a good idea. I've talked about the live stream. Both PlayStation 4 and Xbox will live stream. I think PlayStation 4 have gone with Ustream mainly, and I think they may have their own webpage, and I know you can share to Facebook, whereas Xbox have actually got a partnership with Twitch, which some people may think, oh, that's a lot better. Doesn't really affect me that much. Ustream will do. If I'm going to record something, I'm going to record it on the DVR and then upload it to YouTube or something. PlayStation have yet to announce a voice control. Again, to me, it doesn't really matter. It's not really something that will affect me buying a console or the other. In my opinions, it will get quite annoying if your mum comes in and asks when you go to turn your Xbox off and your PlayStation or your Xbox turns off. You know, you're gonna be quite pissed, aren't you? Don't know how that's going to really work. Don't know if it's going to work like that. It might not, but it's not something that will make me buy the console or the other. Another thing I have really strong views on is the Xbox mainly saying about their TV, how it's going to be able to play TV, how it's going to change TV. PlayStation haven't said anything about this. I think that's a good idea. They haven't said anything about this and concentrated on what the gamers actually want. Because if you were going to watch TV, you watch it on a TV. You don't buy a game console to watch TV. If you're going to watch TV on a game console, you're just going to use Netflix, you're going to use BBC iPlayer. You don't need to watch, you don't need every single bloody channel. You don't need, like, Sky or something. If you're going to watch bloody TV, buy a Sky box, buy a Sky subscription, a lot cheaper, go watch better TV. Doesn't really affect me. It's coming away from the game console. It's coming back to Xbox want something that will take over your living room rather than an actual game console, which in my opinion it should be about the gamers, it should be about the people who want to play games. Xbox seems more for people who are just a casual gamer who will come home, watch a bit of TV, play maybe, you know, half an hour of a game and then go do something else, which for me isn't what I'm going to use it for. So I'm not going to, that it's just not, it's going to serve no use to me. So the next point is that the price range. The PlayStation is $100 less than the Xbox. PlayStation does not come with the PlayStation Eye camera. That comes at, I think it's another £30. I think it's another $60, something like that. It's not a particular amount more, but again, for me, it's nothing that will really change the way that I play, something that I really need or really want it. So it's actually probably better that they didn't add it in and made it cheaper. That was the thing that got the biggest reaction. I mean, there's loads of videos on YouTube of the people at the PlayStation press conference at E3. And that was they ended on that, and that was like the big bang, and everyone actually like couldn't believe it, because Xbox or Microsoft had came in before that and had their conference first thing in the morning or first thing in the day and said that their console was going to cost $500, and then PlayStation had come in and said, you know what, we're going to make it $400. This was sort of like the big point. This is the thing that's going to make people want to buy the PlayStation, want to buy the Xbox, because they don't have some people may not have enough money to buy an Xbox. Because bearing in mind, you've got to buy an Xbox, then you've got to buy Live, then you've got to buy games, which are going to be about 50 quid. So, you know, $100 is going to make a lot of difference to some people. So, you know, PlayStation wins on that one, and it's going to be a big decider of who's going to buy what, unfortunately. So, okay, so now I'm going to talk about my verdict, what I think will be the better console, what will come off more, and what I am going to buy for myself. In my opinion, I think the PlayStation 4 is a better console for gaming. That's the big point, for gaming. If you want to buy a console for games, buy the PlayStation 4. Got better hardware. It's going to run, in my opinion, I think it will run better. I don't know how much it will run better, you know. Hopefully they're not going to have the problems, or developers aren't going to have the problems like they did with the PlayStation 3, where it would be really hard to develop for. I don't think it's going to be like that anymore because of the stuff they've got in there. And I mean, GDDR5 in RAM for a console or even for a computer, just its standard RAM, is unheard of. It's gonna be brilliant, because it's gonna help the actual graphics. It's gonna help the graphics and help the actual console run a lot quicker, because it has a lower bandwidth, a lower latency, so it's gonna be a lot quicker. In my opinion, the Xbox seems not to be taken on board what the gamers clearly want, and they clearly are just changing what they were going to originally do because they want the money. They don't want it. They ain't going to. If they didn't, again, back to the point, if they wanted to make a console for what the gamers wanted, they would have put their mandatory gaming stores. They'd have put always online. They would have never had always online. They would have never had that you can't use used games, because they know. Everyone knows that's what you want. I'll go down to a game store and I'll first thing I will look at pre-owned games, because they're a hell of a lot cheaper, and that's what I want. I want that with a new console. I don't want to have to buy new games that cost 50 quid every single time, because sometimes you know, I won't have the money. I want to buy a game, but I won't have the money to do it. So, you know, I just think that Xbox are only changing, and people say, oh yeah, well they're changing, so I'm going to buy the Xbox. No, they're only changing because they want your money. They aren't changing because they want, or they're making the console for you. They're changing it for themselves. That's my view on that. So overall, I think I'm going to buy I'm going to buy the PlayStation 4. I've already pre-ordered it. I think it's going to be a lot better console for gaming. you know, you may have a different opinion. Xbox may be for you because you might not watch TV a lot of the time. You might not game a lot. You might be like I said. You might come home, watch a bit of TV, play half an hour of gaming. You might not be an excessive gamer, or a hardcore gamer, but you want a console that suits your needs. So that's fair enough. You know, I'm not going to say you need to buy this console. It's just my opinion. Don't take it too seriously. Well, obviously, all the things I've said you can take seriously, but my opinion, don't take it too seriously. Don't take it to heart. Don't put too much banter in the don't start fighting in the comments. But yeah, this has been Class Robbie from Classadelic, talking about the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, and good night.